brushing. Let's see how good it goes. that's the shitty part about using a disc mulcher, brush cutter, whatever you want to call it. Like, this is all kind of, I mean, it's on and off in here, heavy willows and that, and they're very difficult to cut. They're like steel wire braided rope, and they don't like being mulched up. So, like, I don't have very much more to go, but I mean, this is a barley field on the one side and soybeans on the other. I'm doing my best to try and keep the brush cutter low and also not snag my hydraulic hoses, because actually the one side there where the case drain has been getting a little bit of damage, so I zip tied it to the main hydraulic hose there, and then wrapped it all up in electrical tape. So just try to keep everything close in and tight, but I mean, it's not always an option. So it's the one problem with using a brush cutter like this one, is it just throws everything everywhere. I've been trying to convince the boss to get a Promac HDM 48, I think that's what it's called, and that's a horizontal drum grinder or mulcher, and but we haven't had a lot of work for the brush cutter this year. But also the highways department won't hire this machine. They say it's too old, and they want a bigger machine, like a 20-tonner. Even though with this brush cutter on, I can do the work that a 20-ton machine can. I mean, you might be able to go up to a 52-inch brush cutter with a 20-tonner, but I mean, big deal. This thing does a lot of work, and usually beside highways it doesn't get that thick anyway. But ideally, I'd like to see us get into a proper mulcher, but I don't know if that'll happen. The mulcher, at least when you keep it nice and horizontal, it blows most of the chips and debris almost straight down, just like with our flail mulcher. And the flail's pretty nice, especially in this kind of stuff. It works pretty good. It will get wrapped up, but I think the fixed tooth design would be king for most of our work, because some places it'll be these willows. I mean, this is how big these willow stems are usually, and other places it'll be well, you can get into pines, and those are easy to shred. But then I also get into big thick poplars, and that's where having a really good chipping drum would be. Just hard to get the work, especially in a have-not province like Manitoba. So, my apologies to the farmer. So, don't want my beer to taste like willows. See? So yeah, that's what it's like running this. The old grill just passed 8,000 hours. It's still doing pretty good. Got new pins and bushings on it. But as you can see, you know, the boss was a little more relentless with it, swinging into everything. And a lot of rust is accumulated on the engine bonnet there in the back of the cab. I don't know why. I've seen other machines similar age, and the steel is just fine on them. It's not like this has been in the rust a lot. Took the thumb off earlier this year because it's useless. I never use it. And then you always have to turn the hydraulic pressure down using a pressure gauge if you want to use the thumb, because the hydraulics are turned up so it can use the brush cutter, and we use the brush cutter more than we use the thumb. And I always insist that I don't need the thumb. All I need is a wrist to twist, or anything where I can tilt the bucket. So a tilt rotator would be perfect, but this thing's an 06, so I mean, it's kind of getting beyond getting new fancy things on it. The engine's getting a little more smoky, burns a little bit of oil. So, you know, won't be long and there'll be time for an engine overhaul or replacement, because I believe these engines don't have liners in for the pistons, or the sleeves, whatever you want to call them. So, I mean, it'd be kind of a shame to get rid of it because, you know, it doesn't have DEF, it doesn't have diesel particulate filter, no EGR. It runs the way a diesel engine is supposed to run, unhindered. And things that I would like to see changed would be, you know, a double pump system like all the newer Hitachis are. Would be a little bit faster. And a bit of underguarding, but I mean, none of that stuff's going to happen. So, thought I'd do a video. I haven't done one in a long time, and it's been kind of a crappy summer for work, so we've had some work, but just not like the last few years. So, there you go. Okay, now I'm trying to get this thing to turn off.